don't come naturally. Please understand this. In the Bible, there are two categories of sins. There are normal sins and there are unnatural sins. There are natural sins and there are sins that are not normal. And listen, we are not minimizing or making excuses for the normal sins. Adultery is a terrible sin. It'll really cause a lot of heartache in your marriage. It can even destroy your marriage if there's no reconciliation and forgiveness. Adultery is a terrible, terrible sin that no Christian ought to go down that road. But it's not an unnatural sin. You understand that? Here's what's unnatural. Here's what's not normal. When a man is attracted to another man. When a woman is attracted to another woman. When an adult is attracted to a child. When a human is attracted to an animal, those are unnatural sins. So look, when we study the Bible, we need to understand not all sin is equal. Not all sin is the same. There are unnatural sins. And by the way, the unnatural sins, God put the death penalty on all of them. And then there are natural sins that God put the death penalty on. Look, you know that you can kill somebody and that doesn't make you a reprobate, but you still, by God's law, should be put to death. Now, we don't do that anymore in the United States of America. We don't put murderers to death. You kill somebody and you go to prison for like 10 years and get out. You know, but God put the death penalty. You can be a witch and not be a reprobate, but God put witches to death. You can commit adultery and not be a reprobate, but God put adulterers to death. So understand that they're not the same. There's natural sins, unnatural sins. All unnatural sins have the death penalty. All unnatural sins show that your conscience has been seared, that you've been given over to a reprobate mind. God has seared your conscience. You've lost your opportunity to be saved because the only way that somebody could go into those unnatural sins is if God just seared your conscience. Because normal people, listen to me, and you know this to be true, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, you know this to be true. Normal people don't lust after those unnatural sins. Teenage boys, we teach them to guard their eyes. We teach them to look away. We're talking about to members of the opposite sex. We teach teenage boys, hey, don't, you're driving down the road and you see a billboard with a girl that's dressed immodestly. You need to look away. You need to, make a covenant with your eyes. You need to decide that you're not going to look upon her. And not just teenage, all men. Good night. Jesus said, whosoever looketh upon a woman to lust after hath committed adultery with her already in his heart. So what do we teach men? You need to guard your eyes. You need to guard your mind. You need to make sure that you are purposely not lusting after other women. Why? Because that is a totally natural sin. You know what I don't tell a 13-year-old boy? Now, when you're going down that road and you see that queer-looking model on that underwear ad, look the other way so you don't get tempted. You know what? Boys think that's disgusting. That's disgusting. A grown man isn't, I'm around a little 5-year-old kid, I better be careful. That's disgusting. It's vile. It's unnatural. The fact that you can go down that road shows that you've been given over to a reprobate mind. So there's unnatural sins, there's natural sins. And even within the category of natural sins, some are worse than others. Some got the death penalty. Some got a financial penalty. Some got a beating. Some had no penalty. God says, hey, don't lie. But there's no punishment for it. He didn't give a punishment in his law for it. He just says you shouldn't do it. You understand what I'm saying? So as Christians, we need to be able to look at those scriptures and understand these things. And here's what we realize. We realize that Jesus did not enforce Old Testament law, but he also did not condone what God condemned. Go back to John chapter 8.